Guy from Geekhead again. I'm here with the latest review of the 100th episode that was showed last night on the 12th of August 2014. And this one was His Sister's Keeper, which was it's nice having a bit of background story, and it's good that they are bringing a bit of background into this because it's necessary. But the more and more we're going into it, there's a little bit more cheese coming into it than maybe is necessary. The script writers are just going out with a bit more cheese. But let's have a quick recap of it, because there were some things that I really enjoyed of the episode. I liked that they were finally giving Bellamy and Octavia's background a good showing, and that they did it all in one thing. That was the thing that was what really frustrated me with, say, Lost, was that you would get snippets of a backstory, but it was never enough to really be cohesive until you'd seen a couple of series. Whereas with this, they seem to be following, each episode maybe has a character or set of characters that they will follow, and you'll see that arc. And so this one was Bellamy and Octavia, from when Octavia is born and put into underneath the ground, not the ground, the floor, and her being raised. You get the sense that the mother's maybe a little bit crazy, and that she's not entirely there, that she's had this child as a personal act of rebellion against the system, which is valid, it works, it's alright, but it definitely comes across that maybe she's a little bit unhinged about a couple of things, and maybe they'll explain that, maybe they won't. But they then showed a little bit more of the grounders, which I thought was interesting, and already it's very clear that there's almost possibly two sects of the grounders, that they're both, you've got this individual that rescues Octavia and puts her downstairs and keeps her safe, and I think there's going to be a very typical twist where she starts to fall for him, and then this other group of grounders that have set some traps. There's a rather extravagant rotating arm with spikes that impales one of them, and a couple of other traps hidden along the way that are definitely quite deadly. It was a little bit like a death match in the forest, which I thought was quite good. It also shows a little bit of where Bellamy comes from and why he was on the dropship, and the twists in there as to whether the Arch-Chancellor is involved, whether that's his crony, I've forgotten the commander, Shumway, that's the guy, Commander Shumway, whether he's working on his own or he's working with the Arch-Chancellor at all, which is going out there, it's going big. But I thought it was, again, this triangle between Clark, Raven, and Finn. I think this has the potential to blow everything out of the water. That things could really get hectic, because we see at the end that Finn has been stabbed. I mean, if you're watching this and you haven't realised that I give spoilers, then I'm sorry. I'll make sure that it's in the title. But I've been giving spoilers since the beginning, so I'm not going to change now. But the tension between Raven and Clark really came to a head, and it was awkward. It was typically adolescent, and I think for some people it can be quite hard to watch. Maybe if they're in that situation, or if they're out of that situation and in denial that, oh, I never would have done it that way. No. You know, that situation would be awkward, and they're dealing with it as adolescents, which it's going to be very messy. I think this will spill out over into the next couple of episodes and really get interesting, as the tensions between Clark and Raven come to a head. We've still got the radio to be made, and Bellamy, I think Bellamy's going to maybe take a step back. I think he's going to get a little bit depressed with the outburst of his sister at the end of the episode. But the main thing, and my wife agreed with it, when the storm was coming over the horizon, and he's looking up, looking very pensive, and the storm's about to arrive. A little bit too cliched. We've seen all that in many other TV series, and it's a little used too much. I think that maybe the script writers need to wind down a little bit on the old cliches, because again, I'm enjoying this series. I'm thoroughly enjoying this. There's not much that I'm watching as regularly at the moment. There's a lot of things that I dip into every now and again, but this is, as it's being broadcasted, I have got it on record. I am watching it that evening. I want to see what happens. And I'm excited to see where they go. They've introduced the grounders, whether they are these illiterate, bestial individuals or collectives, we're not entirely sure. There's possibly, I think they could go, if I'm going to project and try and give a little bit of I guess the projection is the only word really to use, a little bit of projection for the series. Maybe they're going to bring in a little bit of the Native American Indians, because the guy that rescues Octavia looks a little bit Native American Indian, with the paint, the war paint, some of the tribal gear that he's wearing, so they might be bringing a bit of that in, but who knows? I'm desperately trying not to look ahead. I know Wikipedia has all of the episodes, and I know places where I can watch the episodes, but I want to watch them week by week so I can do these lovely video recordings of my thoughts. But that's it really for today with the 100. For those that are watching, Geeked is going to be at Worldcon this Saturday. So that's being held at the Excel Centre in London. We are super excited. This is one of the biggest science fiction and fantasy literary conventions in the world. And it's at London. It won't be here for, I think, another 58 years. So this is rather exciting. We're very excited to be there. I will be there. My colleague Peter will be there, and we'll be going around trying to get as many interviews with the authors that are there as possible. So if you see us, come up and say hello. If you don't, that's all right. We're still going to do our thing. But this is Guy from Geeked. You have a good day.